Good evening and all. Welcome to the Blue Hope on Commonwealth Day live stream session together with edX Pixel Virtual Expo platform. And it is an honor and a pleasure to have our respected guests in session for a common cause. edX and Blue Hope, in conjunction with the British High Commission and the Royal Commonwealth Society of Malaysia, have great pleasure in bringing you this very special Commonwealth Observance Day webinar. Due to the COVID-19 restriction, only a small number of guests can attend this year's physical event. But for the first time, we will be streaming the event live and welcoming a much larger virtual audience from across Malaysia and overseas. Before we go live to the Royal Commonwealth Society's clubhouse, we have a pleasure of playing a short video of last year's event. Thank you.
Here we are celebrating Commonwealth Day in partnership with the Royal Commonwealth Society here in KL. It's been a great opportunity to bring together all of the Commonwealth partners in Malaysia, and there are a huge number here. The enthusiasm for the Commonwealth in Malaysia is vast. We've been able to celebrate achievements like the Queen's Commonwealth Canopy up in Raja Musa in Selangor, which is a really important wetland preserve. We've been able to celebrate the achievements of the last 2 years during the UK chairmanship and to celebrate those Commonwealth values, to thank our friends for all the work they've done with us and for us, and to look forward to the future of the Commonwealth.
The theme for this year's Commonwealth Day, Delivering a Common Future, Connecting, Innovating, Transforming, is fitting as we journey into a new decade. Indeed, the coming decade requires us to build inclusive societies based on the Commonwealth core values with a view to promote development, global peace and prosperity.
It's very important to put in record that while governments, industry, NGOs, academia can do many things, but the power of one is very important. The power of each of us, the individuals, if we take a pledge to live in a little bit more harmony with nature, we can make a big difference.
I would wish the scientific community with the private sector could engage numerous governments in the Commonwealth to come together and try to bring about a better world.
As far as the Commonwealth Enterprise Investment Council, we're also very proud to be part of celebrating Commonwealth Day, simply because the Commonwealth represents a huge opportunity for all individuals in different Commonwealth countries to share, to innovate, to grow, and to create prosperity for each other. It is a market of over 1.5 billion people. There is no singular market that big. And with a shared heritage and common values, almost anything can be achieved if we start working together.
The Commonwealth is a very special family of nations with shared values and goals. And I'm really pleased that tonight is an opportunity to bring together all the Commonwealth member countries, societies and associations in Malaysia so that we can work more closely together to deliver a prosperous and sustainable future. Thank you all very much.
Yang Berbahagia, Dr. Nadzirah Binti Osman, Deputy Secretary General of Multilateral Affairs, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Malaysia, His Excellency Charles Hay, the British High Commissioner, Mr. Tony Kassim, President of the Royal Commonwealth Society of Malaysia, Ms. Bernice Narayanan, Chairman of the Royal Commonwealth Society of Malaysia, Dato Sudha Devi K.R. Vasudevan, Chair of the Commonwealth Foundation, Council members, Your Excellencies, High Commissioners, and Honorary Consuls of the Commonwealth countries, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening and welcome to the celebration of Commonwealth Observance Day at the Royal Commonwealth Society of Malaysia. Before we proceed with this evening's event, we will now be playing and singing the Malaysian national anthem, the Negara Ku. Thank you. The 2021 Commonwealth Observance Day theme is Delivering a Common Future, Connecting, Innovating, Transforming. There are 54 countries under the Commonwealth banner with a common objective to promote the Commonwealth's shared values of peace, democracy, and equality, and to celebrate the association's rich diversity. The theme, Delivering a Common Future, Connecting, Innovating, Transforming, explores how the modern Commonwealth, with its network of over 80 organizations, can connect and innovate to transform the whole Commonwealth into societies underpinned by the values of democracy, multilateralism, sustainable development, the protection of the environment, and the empowerment of women and young people. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let me introduce the Council members of the Royal Commonwealth Society of Malaysia. I'd like to invite on stage the President, Mr. Tony Kassim. Could we have on stage the Vice President, Dr. P. Ramanujam. Vice President, Mr. Andy Gong. Thank you, gentlemen. Our next batch of Council members, I'd like to invite on stage the Vice President, Mr. Sarban Sange. Convener of Rules and Regulations, Mr. Su Tiong Yu. Convener of Human Resources, Mr. Satish Kumar. Thank you, gentlemen. Next, I'd like to invite on stage the Convener of Commonwealth Affairs and Editorial, Mr. Parminder Singh. The House and Grounds Convener, Mr. Michael Gonzalez. And the Sports and Games Convener, Mr. Richard Fu. Thank you very much, gentlemen. And our final group of council members that we have on stage, the Food and Beverage Convener, Mr. Lim Leong Ho. Vice Chairman and Finance Convener, Mr. Kesavan. And the Chairman, come Admin Convener and Convener of Youth Affairs, Ms. Bernice Narayanan. Thank you, gentlemen and lady. Not present here today, Mr. Ramesh, the Membership and Discipline Convener, and Mr. Demandaran, the Entertainment and Special Events Convener. We'd like now to invite Mr. Tony Kassim, the President of the Royal Commonwealth Society of Malaysia, to deliver his welcome address.
Thank you, Gilbert. Thank you. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. The Honorable Dato Nadzirah Binti Osman, the Deputy Secretary General, Multilateral Affairs, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, His Excellency Charles Seri, British High Commissioner of Malaysia, where's Charles, I can see, with the mask on, thank you. His Excellent Vanu Menon, the Singapore High Commissioner, YBhg Dato Sudha Devi, Chair of the Board of Governors of Commonwealth Foundation, Ms. Bernice Narayanan, Chair Lady or Chairman of Royal Commonwealth Society of Malaysia, Your Excellencies, High Commissioners, Honorary Council of the Commonwealth countries, my fellow council members, vice presidents, and RCS families. Good evening, and thank you for coming this celebration for the Commonwealth Days in our club house. This is, we call it Commonwealth House. The theme this year, delivery, a common future, innovating, connecting, and transforming. It's very interesting. We have to look at it. You can last years more than 10 years if you really work on it carefully. I'm very grateful that this year's celebration with a very strict SOP, and we are very lucky. For last year's, we have 8th of March. Few days after that, the government imposed a MCO. We can't move at all. So this year, the government lifted the MCO on the 5th of March, and they imposed a CMCO. Is for us to celebrate the Commonwealth Day today. Thank you very much. I would like to thank you to Excellency Charles Seri, the British High Commissioner to Malaysia, and Bernice for the hardworking, committed, commitment, organize this celebration. Last year, we have a very good celebration, and this year is more interesting. We have a great event today, this morning, with the YBhg. Those topics that we're discussing is very, very interesting. Personally, I feel that I would like to put a record here. Thank you to British High Commissioner here for the program and the topic we are talking about is very, very important, especially the plastic waste and the fish bombing in Sabah. We are not looking in Sabah at plastic waste. We are looking also in all coastal area that we have in Malaysia. It is a history that we have this topic today. Then I would recommend to the British High Com, we should have it either 6 months once for this program, or once a year is too long for me, I feel it. So this is education for our youth and the program for our community. We should outreach them to have all this plastic waste. It is a history that we cannot be forget this year, 2020. It's only not for us, but it's the entire world. The pandemic COVID-19 has changed our daily life and must be adapt a new norm. You can see today, compared to last year, we have about 150 people. This year for this COVID, we have it very smaller, but this traditional must carry on. Pandemic affect not only health, but also economy, education, and many other aspects. Let us pray and stand together to fight this pandemic and follow the strictly SOP with these vaccines around coming to Malaysia. I already registered myself. I'm second layer to receive the vaccines to protect us from the COVID-19, and it's important to prevent rather than cure. Hope you enjoy the evening. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, the United Kingdom is the Commonwealth Chair in office, and His Excellency Charles Hay, the British High Commissioner to Malaysia, will be sharing his thoughts. Your Excellency Charles Hay.
Ladies and gentlemen, Excellencies, good evening. And it's a terrific pleasure for me to be taking part in Commonwealth Day 2021 with at least a few people around us, even if we are all wearing masks. And the very essence and heart of the Commonwealth is our people-to-people links. And while we've all got used to some extent anyway to virtual meetings, having at least some people together to celebrate this day seems very appropriate. And I'm very relieved, like Tony, that the latest MCO was lifted in time for us to have this event. And my thanks to the Royal Commonwealth Society of Malaysia for hosting us this evening. Now, it seems an age ago, but it was just a year ago that the British High Commission, as Commonwealth Chair in office, co-hosted Commonwealth Observance Day with the Royal Commonwealth Society of Malaysia. And as we saw from the film footage shown earlier on, it was about the last normal event we had before we all went into lockdown. And this past year has been difficult and challenging for all of us in different ways. We faced multiple challenges, and in many cases, personal tragedy or economic hardship. And this has affected all countries, large and small, rich and poor. However, out of diversity, we find strength and resilience, and we innovate to find solutions. Scientists around the world have worked at a speed few thought possible to make multiple vaccines available, and the number of people vaccinated around the world multiplies by the day. We've all had to find virtues in the virtual world too. Although we don't have many guests with us here tonight, for the first time, we're filming and live streaming this event to a much bigger virtual audience across Malaysia and more widely. In the UK, for the first time in over 50 years, the decision was taken to cancel the Commonwealth Day service at Westminster Abbey. But instead, Commonwealth Day has been celebrated on television with the broadcast of a very special programme, a celebration of the Commonwealth on BBC One, shown last night. The pandemic has also meant that the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting due to be held in Rwanda in June last year has had to be postponed, which has meant the UK has had a further year as Commonwealth Chair in office. Although the world has been in lockdown for much of the last year, the work of the Commonwealth has continued. And this is a critical year for our natural world, which has long been a focus for the Commonwealth. 2021 is the first year of the UNESCO Ocean Decade. And this year will see both COP26, climate negotiations, and COP15, Convention on Biological Diversity, when world leaders will come together and agree the steps we need to take to build back greener and live more sustainably and in harmony with nature. I've been very privileged as UK High Commissioner here in Malaysia to represent the UK as Chair in office for 2 years now, and to witness the steps that Malaysia has taken in that time to progress the Commonwealth's goals. Fairness, prosperity, sustainability, and security. Just to mention a few examples amongst many. The Parliament of Malaysia hosted the Commonwealth Partnership for Democracy's Asia Regional Women's Political Leadership Conference, which focused on policies and initiatives to mainstream gender equality across the Asia region. Malaysia completed the She Trades Commonwealth pilot, supporting women-owned businesses to become more competitive, promoting economic growth and job creation. Malaysia was one of 4 Commonwealth countries to have the I Work project designed to improve the employment prospects of young people, including those from disadvantaged backgrounds. The University Malaya is one of 5 new universities to host Queen Elizabeth Commonwealth Scholars, and since April 2018, 47 scholars have benefited from the scheme. And Malaysia was the first country to begin creating an energy and emissions calculator with the aim of creating easy-to-use energy models to support climate planning. And for that, they used a £3.5 million budget extension to the 2050 calculator programme, which the UK announced at CHOGM in 2018. I was also delighted that Dato Sudha Devi, who's here with us this evening, I'm very glad to say, a most distinguished Malaysian diplomat, has been appointed chair of the Commonwealth Foundation. And it's been very heartening to see young Malaysians being recognised and celebrated for their work and contribution to their communities, society and the environment. This morning, Tony, Kassim and I we took part in a Blue Hope on Commonwealth Day webinar. And in that webinar was another participant called Mogesh Savati. Mogesh is a young man. He's the co-founder of Ocean Hope Project, which is a youth-led group aiming to raise the visibility of ocean issues and environmental conservation. And Mogesh is a finalist in the Commonwealth Youth Awards of 2021, which is a fantastic achievement. And we very much hope he'll go one step further and be one of the winners in the virtual ceremony, which will be held on Wednesday. Malaysian co-founders of Zero Waste Malaysia, Kor Soo Yi and Aurora Tin, are the most recent winners of the Commonwealth Points of Light Award. Their NGO is working with the community and with companies to get zero waste policies adopted by Malaysians and businesses. The Commonwealth Points of Light Award celebrates outstanding acts of volunteering, thereby inspiring others to volunteer and make a positive impact in their community. And I'm especially pleased that Zero Waste Malaysia have taken the time to participate and support this series of Blue Hope webinars in 2020 to help educate and inspire all of us to live a zero or near zero waste lifestyle. Now today, by coincidence, as well as Commonwealth Day, we are also celebrating International Women's Day. And the Commonwealth Secretariat have marked this event with 2 social media campaigns. Hashtag She Leads the Way, celebrating women's leadership in the Commonwealth, and hashtag See the She, recognizing women's contributions to ocean science. So I'd like to particularly mention and pay my respects to 3 Malaysian women scientists who are working to help protect the ocean. Firstly, Associate Professor Dr. Goh Hong Chin, who is Senior Lecturer at University Malaysia and Malaysian Lead for the Global Challenges Research Fund Blue Communities Project. Secondly, Professor Zainura Zainon Noor, Deputy Director of the Centre for Environmental Sustainability and Water Security at the University Technology Malaysia. And thirdly, Hui Ling, PhD student at the University of Nottingham, Malaysia, who's researching the effects of microplastics in the ocean. And I now take great pleasure in introducing this year's annual Commonwealth Day message from Her Majesty the Queen, Head of the Commonwealth.
Over the coming week, as we celebrate the friendship, spirit of unity, and achievements of the Commonwealth, we have an opportunity to reflect on a time like no other. Whilst experiences of the last year have been different across the Commonwealth, stirring examples of courage, commitment, and selfless dedication to duty have been demonstrated in every Commonwealth nation and territory, notably by those working on the front line who have been delivering healthcare and other public services in their communities. We have also taken encouragement from remarkable advances in developing new vaccines and treatments. The testing times experienced by so many have led to a deeper appreciation of the mutual support and spiritual sustenance we enjoy by being connected to others. The need to maintain greater physical distance or to live and work largely in isolation has, for many people across the Commonwealth, been an unusual experience. In our everyday lives, we have had to become more accustomed to connecting and communicating via innovative technology, which has been new to some of us, with conversations and communal gatherings, including Commonwealth meetings, conducted online, enabling people to stay in touch with friends, family, colleagues, and counterparts who they have not been able to meet in person. Increasingly, we have found ourselves able to enjoy such communication, as it offers an immediacy that transcends boundaries or division, helping any sense of distance to disappear. We have all continued to appreciate the support, breadth of experiences, and knowledge that working together brings. And I hope we shall maintain this renewed sense of closeness and community. Looking forward, relationships with others across the Commonwealth will remain important as we strive to deliver a common future that is sustainable and more secure, so that the nations and neighborhoods in which we live, wherever they are located, become healthier and happier places for us all.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much.
Thank you. Honored guests, it gives me great pleasure now to invite the Honorable YBhg Dato Nadzirah Binti Osman, Deputy Secretary General of Multilateral Affairs, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Malaysia, to hear her message and to propose a toast to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, Head of the Commonwealth.
His Excellency Charles Hay, High Commissioner of the United Kingdom, Mr. Tony Kassim, President of the Royal Commonwealth Society, Ms. Bernice Narayanan, Chairman of the Royal Commonwealth Society, High Commissioners, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. I am truly delighted to be here again at the auspicious ceremony to commemorate the Commonwealth Observance Day 2021. On behalf of the Honourable Minister of Foreign Affairs, I wish to convey his best wishes and warmest felicitations to mark this day. Unfortunately, we are living in a tumultuous period. A pandemic of tremendous proportions has hit the entire world, including members of the Commonwealth family. At last year's reception, all of us were free to mingle without any restrictions with bigger crowd. Unfortunately, gathering now requires social distancing and adherence to the various standard operating procedures. We are resigned to the fact that our lives have changed. In spite of the encouraging development of several types of vaccines around the world, I feel that new standard operating procedures introduced to contain the spread of the coronavirus will remain at least for the foreseeable future. The world, including the Commonwealth, has been hit hard by this deadly virus. The Commonwealth countries has had to deal with over 20 million cases. Sadly, almost 400,000 Commonwealth citizens have lost their lives. My condolences goes out to all those that have lost loved ones. So many others have also had to endure great suffering due to the effects of COVID-19, such as the loss of livelihood. While we have suffered losses, make no mistake, the Commonwealth stands firm and resolute in our resolve to overcome this pandemic. We are committed to overcome this together. In July last year, leaders of the Commonwealth issued a joint statement on the pandemic and reaffirmed our commitment to ensure equitable access to quality, essential health services, and safe, effective, quality, and affordable medicines and vaccines for all. This would include the most vulnerable and high-risk people, such as the old and the disabled. Our leaders also reaffirmed their commitment to address the economic, social, and environmental impact of the pandemic. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, in June this year, the heads of state and government of Commonwealth member countries are scheduled to meet in Kigali, Rwanda for the 26th Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting. Under the theme, Delivering a Common Future, Connecting, Innovating, Transforming, Malaysia is committed to work together with other Commonwealth member countries in strengthening cooperation in a number of priority areas such as climate change, youth, and addressing the various social and economic impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. As per previous Chogam, Malaysia looks forward to participate in the 4 forums that are scheduled to take place at the sidelines of the summit, namely the Business, Youth, People's and Women's Forums. I would like to take this opportunity to encourage members from the various Commonwealth accredited bodies and civil society organizations to participate in these forums to enable all of us from different segments of society to come together and discuss ways to move forward in the wake of the pandemic. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, the Commonwealth Day this year is special as it coincides with the International Women's Day. This provides an opportunity for us to recognize women leaders across the Commonwealth that have contributed positively to sustainable development and in building resilient societies. Within the Commonwealth, gender equality and women's empowerment have been an utmost priority as it is crucial in achieving the 2030 Sustainable Development Goals. I am delighted that all 3 intergovernmental organizations of the Commonwealth, which are the Commonwealth Secretariat, the Commonwealth Foundation, and the Commonwealth of Learning, are currently being led by women. Allow me to take this opportunity to congratulate Dato Sudha Devi, a friend and former colleague, on her recent appointment as the chair of the Commonwealth Foundation last December. As we celebrate Commonwealth Day this year, let us reflect on what each of us can do and contribute as we continue to work towards a fairer and more sustainable world. I am positive that the Commonwealth, with its vast resources, talents, and expertise, coupled with its network of over 80 accredited organizations and bodies, can connect and innovate to transform the whole Commonwealth into societies underpinned by the values of democracy, multilateralism, sustainable development, empowerment of women and young people. With that, please join me in a toast for the good health and well-being of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, Head of the Commonwealth. To Her Majesty the Queen, and Happy Commonwealth Day. Thank you.
And to toast to the health and well-being of His Majesty Duli Maha Mulia Seri Paduka Baginda Yang Di-Pertuan Agong, it gives me great pleasure to invite the Doyen High Commissioner. The Doyen is the longest-serving High Commissioner in Commonwealth representation in Malaysia. His Excellency Vanu Gopala Menon, High Commissioner of Singapore.
And thank you for reminding me that I've overstayed my welcome in Malaysia. I've been asked to propose a toast to His Majesty, the Yang Di-Pertuan Agong. So please raise your glass as we toast. Please raise your glass as we toast to the good health, wisdom, and prosperity of His Majesty Kebawa Duli Yang Maha Mulia, Sri Paduka Baginda Yang Di-Pertuan Agong, Al-Sultan Abdullah Riyatuddin Al-Mustafa Billah Shah, Ibni Al-Mahrum, Sultan Haji Ahmad Shah Al-Mustain Billah. Daulat Tuanku. Tuanku. Thank you.
We invite now Ms. Suganya Prem, the Youth Affairs Secretary, representing Mr. Dhanesh Basil, the Royal Commonwealth Society of Malaysia's Director of Youth Affairs, to give us a brief of the RCS youth activities.
A very good evening to everyone. I'll be delivering a speech on behalf of my director, Mr. Dhanesh Basil. He is the Youth Director for RCS Youth Affairs. First and foremost, I would like to avail this opportunity to wish all women in the house happy International Women's Day. Also, I would like to congratulate Mei Chu, who is the Gold Finalist Award holder for the Queen's Commonwealth Essay Competition 2020, which saw a participation of about 13,000 students from 58 countries around the globe. I think it is also still not too late to congratulate Mohesh Sababati, who has been selected as the top 20 regional finalist for the Commonwealth Youth Awards 2021. Let's give a round of applause to the both youths. I'm honored to be a part of this council along for this important occasion under the leadership of our very own Shiro, Ms. Bernice Narayanan, the chairman of the club as well as the youth convener. We have came along a long way, empowering youths in the journey of nations building. I must mention, truly grateful to have Ms. Bernice as the tower of strength for the youth, who has never hesitated to extend unwavering support, even though hurdles encountered at the 11th hour. Thank you, Ms. Bernice. I'm elated to share that the youth membership of RCS Malaysia has casted a significant increase ever since 2015, marking 45 youth members currently. With that being said, RCS hails truly a remarkable process over the past few years. Amidst the pandemic in 2020, we rose to the occasion and successfully did an excellent job by organizing and conducting many diversified programs through Commonwealth Chat Series platform. A touch base was made on salient topics, namely Rohingya crisis in Malaysia, suicide prevention, domestic violence, women in capacity building, road to financial freedom, SDGs in youth development, and etc. We have also been conducting several youth dialogues in Malaysia pertaining the themes discussed in the Commonwealth Youth Forum, and we do send the outcomes to RCS London accordingly. Even yesterday, we organized a RCS Malaysia Women Can Too International Forum. We brought over together foreign speakers from 5 different countries. Besides that, we have also participated in several international and national forums or workshops virtually during this pandemic. The youth affairs have engaged with various stakeholders in Malaysia, such as the Fellow Perdana, Youth Parliamentarian, and Undi 18. In my stand, these efforts are deemed greater than other tangibles, which sets a contemporary relevance for the Commonwealth countries in a complex world. Thanking you for the opportunity to be with you today and to share on a few of the many accomplishments which on its own serves as custodian to the values of RCS as a whole. Signing off, Suganya, the Secretary of RCS Youth Affairs. Thank you.
Honored guests, it gives me great pleasure now to invite Dato Sudha Devi K.R. Vasudevan, the Chair of the Board of Governors, Commonwealth Foundation. Dato Sudha Devi was elected the Chair of Commonwealth Foundation in January 2021.
Yang berbahagia Datuk Nadzirah Osman, Deputy Secretary General Multilateral Affairs, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, His Excellency Charles Hay, High Commissioner of the United Kingdom, Mr. Tony Kassim, President of the Royal Commonwealth Society of Malaysia, and Ms. Bernice Narayanan, Chairman, Royal Commonwealth Society of Malaysia. Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. It's always a challenge to be the last speaker for the day, but please bear with me because I must do justice to the appointment to the foundation. It is a great pleasure to join you all this evening in commemorating Commonwealth Day. as the new chair of the Commonwealth Foundation, I'll take this opportunity to speak about this unique organization. Established by member states of the Commonwealth almost 60 years ago, around the same time that our Royal Commonwealth Society was born, its creation sent an important signal that the Commonwealth aspired to be an organization of people as well as of states. Distinctive among intergovernmental organizations, the Foundation operates as the interface between government and civil society, working to bring the voice of civil society into all aspects of governance and supporting the people's engagement in shaping the policies and decisions that affect their lives. In all aspects of its work, the Foundation is explicitly anchored in the Commonwealth Charter, which provides both mandate and direction for advancing Commonwealth principles and ideals. The Foundation's grants program, launched in 2012, awards around 1 million British pounds yearly to civil society organizations for projects focused on participatory governance across a range of areas, from women's rights to climate change, from youth support to advocacy for mental health law reform. To date, 86 grants in 31 Commonwealth countries with funds worth over 8.3 million pounds have been awarded. Civil society organizations in Malaysia have also been recipients of such awards, of such grants, including in the recent COVID-19 special grants call that supported projects of pandemic-related recovery and rebuilding efforts. Another wonderful initiative of the Foundation is its cultural program, which connects writers and storytellers across the Commonwealth and serves our commitment to amplifying lesser heard voices. The Commonwealth Short Story Prize is presented annually for the best piece of unpublished short fiction and attracts about 5,000 entries each year. The prize has unearthed a real wealth of talent from all 5 regions of the Commonwealth, including from Malaysia. For any budding writer in this room, you may wish to consider entering this prestigious competition, which accepts entries in a range of languages, 11 to be precise, including Malay. Or you might want to submit a piece of writing, fiction or non-fiction, to ADA, the Foundation's online literary magazine, which has become an important platform for emerging talent and lesser heard narratives. The Foundation's new online series of events, Critical Conversations, launched in October 2020, has looked at the topic of colonial legacy of the Commonwealth and issues such as media freedom, the role of women in peacemaking, and the impact of the pandemic on vulnerable groups and communities. The idea behind this initiative is that people of the Commonwealth have something to say and deserve to be heard. This work will feed into the Commonwealth People's Forum, organized by the Foundation as part of the 2021 CHOGM in Kigali, Rwanda. The Foundation has taken the opportunity of the delay to radically rethink the forum in terms of both focus and assess. The provisional theme for the forum is now Our Health, Our Planet, Our Future. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, recognizing the unprecedented challenges brought on by the pandemic, the Foundation will continue to play an effective role, especially in crucial sectors, in cushioning the most vulnerable populations from the pandemic's health and economic consequences and setting the stage for lasting recovery. In charting the Foundation's work for the next 5 years through the Strategic Plan 2021-2026, we will look at best approaches to increase the reach and impact of our work while managing the high expectations within limited resources. This is to ensure that the Foundation will continue to be agile and flexible in a changing work environment to serve the interests of both our stakeholders and partners. The Foundation has an excellent track record of careful and impactful expenditure. However, the pandemic has created a future marked by instability and uncertainty across the Commonwealth. It is crucial that the modest annual budget around £3.3 million is not disrupted, as it is even more important now for the voice of the people to be heard. Today, we also celebrate International Women's Day. The Foundation acknowledges that Commonwealth-wide and globally, much remains to be done if we are to achieve gender equality. Gender and gender equality are central to all aspects of our programming geared towards moving us closer to achieving Sustainable Development Goal number 5, that is, achieve gender equality and empower all women and girls. We understand that real progress towards inclusion requires us to pay close attention to the many factors that influence the capability of individuals and communities to shape lives of value and meaning. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, solidarity is central to the Commonwealth, which is greater than the sum of its parts. It is very encouraging to me that the Foundation has been vocal in calling for greater solidarity among Commonwealth members when it comes to responding to the current global pandemic. The Commonwealth should, I believe, be at the forefront of the call for equitable access to medicines and vaccines. It should be fighting to endure that all states, from the largest and most prosperous to the smallest and most isolated, can recover and rebuild from the global catastrophe. I will end with a visionary quote from the Commonwealth Eminent Persons Report of 2011 that captures in just a few words the real reason we are all here today. We, quote, "We aspire to a Commonwealth that is in harmony with the future, an association that draws on its history, utilizes its strengths, pursues the common interests of its members, and seizes the opportunity to help them and others to shape a better world." End of quotes. Happy Commonwealth Day and happy International Women's Day. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, with that, we have concluded our evening with the Commonwealth Observance Day 2021 celebration at the Royal Commonwealth Society of Malaysia. We would like to thank our virtual guests for sharing this special event with us. And to our guests here at the Royal Commonwealth Society of Malaysia, a warm thank you. See you all in 2022.